last year, the final 4 months. He was terrific all spring long. And his first pitch is a tad bit high and away at 93, ball one on Jerry Hairston. On the ground, foul.
Part of the reason De La Rosa's chosen to start this ball game here at Coors Field, 10-6 at home last year. That's the most wins at Coors Field in a single season. We had to go all the way back to Gabe White in 2000, where he won 10 ball games. Jennings, as a starting pitcher, won 9 in 2002.
Here's the 1-1 from De La Rosa. And it is bounced to Ian Stewart. He gathers himself and he throws to Helton, one gone. The Rockies defensively will have the same lineup that opened in Milwaukee on Monday. Cargo's in left field, Dexter Fowler in center, Brad Hoppen right. The infield, Stewart, Tulowitzki on the left side. Plenty of range there. Clint Barmas, great range at second. Todd Helton owns 3 gold gloves at first and should have more. Miguel Olivo, who caught on Wednesday, is doing the catching today. And they're going to split time, he and Chris Iannetta. And that pitch is right beneath the letters for a strike on David Eckstein.
We're talking about the defensive situation with the catching for the Rockies. You really have 2 number ones. Olivo hit 20-plus home runs in a Kansas City uniform a year ago, performed brilliantly there, signed with the Rockies when they couldn't get Torey Alba's situation set up. Very good catch and throw guys, worked on receiving the baseball in spring training.
Eckstein, a tough man to strike out, 1 for 8 in the early going. He's in a ditch 0-2 against the hard-throwing Jorge De La Rosa.
I think Eckstein's one of those guys is a better hitter when your leadoff man gets on because he has such great back control. You can open up avenues in the infield with trying to put on a hit and run, a bunt and run. He has so many ways offensively to be a plus for your ball club. 3 for 8 to start his career against Mr. De La Rosa.
And a broken bat flare, and it's going to be gloved by Tulowitzki. His only concern was running into Barmas. 2 outs. Well, Jeff Hewson's made his way to his perch near the Rockies dugout. The camera well. Huey?
Well, it's very nice down here. Guys, you know what? I had the opportunity walking down from the booth and coming down here to the field. The concourse, it was just like it was during the World Series. And what an electric atmosphere it is. Not only down here in the field, but up in the stands with the fans. They're ready to go just like the players are.
You know, no question. And folks were camping out, which is not unusual for opening day here in Denver, but folks camping out as early as 8 last night to make sure they got the general admission tickets in the rock pile. Here's Adrian Gonzalez, and he's a little tardy with the swing. Pair of home runs in Arizona. He can flat out hit. Last year, 40 home runs.
Left-handers a year ago just hit 204 with a couple of home runs against De La Rosa. Gonzalez in his career against De La Rosa has a home run.
That's dirty right there.
That was a hard slider, cut fastball, because that thing just dropped off the table when Adrian went to swing at it. It was gone. He didn't stand a chance trying to swing at that one.
Key to that pitch: get the elbow up, stay on top, and drive out front to get the downward tilt.
Rockies with the shift on, 0-2 on Gonzalez. Heater at 95. He's already touched 96. De La Rosa worked in Albuquerque, the final spring training game for the Rockies against the Mariners, George, and he was very, very good. And he sat on 94, 95 even in that spring training game.
5 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts in that game against Seattle, who has some potent right-handed bats.
And this is a changeup that's hit in the ground foul. Let's take a look at the Padres coaching staff. Bud Black, one of the most likable managers in baseball. Very bright man. Ted Simmons is on his bench. He's an intense guy. Darren Balsley, again, their pitching coach. Randy Reddy's their hitting coach. Glenn Hoffman a fixture at third base, and Rick Renteria is at first base. Darryl Ackerfeld's out in the bullpen. He's got long Colorado ties, raised here, went to Mesa College, reached the big leagues. He's been with the Padres as well for a long time. Here's the 1-2. 2 outs, nobody on. And Gonzalez almost offered it that slider. 2-2.
Those are the type of sliders that you'll get somebody that's not as good a hitter as Adrian Gonzalez to swing at.
Well, this season started hot, obviously. 417, a couple of home runs, 2 RBIs. See the numbers against De La Rosa. 5 strikeouts in those 15 at-bats.
That nicked him.
And I thought I heard it here also, but the home plate umpire, Mike DeMuro, is saying no.
Well, Bud Black's going to hustle out and get involved in this. I mean, Adrian Gonzalez didn't even hesitate. He just dropped his stuff as if, you know, it was obvious that he got hit.
And a hitter's not going to be able to react that fast to think that, oh, wait, this was close to me. I can act like it hit me and take my base. I mean, you know when it nicks you, when it hits you, so you just drop your stuff, start taking off all the guards, and draw it down to first. The Southwest Skycam, looks like he might have just grazed him right on that elbow.
God, I thought I heard 2 ticks, one on him, and then when the catcher, Oliva, caught the baseball.
Well, he's not going to argue that much if it didn't hit him. What they're asking right now is they're saying, Mike, go ask for some help. Ask somebody else. Go to Tim Wilkie down at first. See if there's anybody else that heard anything.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised it's gone on this long, though.
Yeah, it would have to be a situation where they heard something, because Mike DeMuro is 3 feet away, and everybody else is, 100+ feet away.
I think Bud Black's finally telling him, hey, he didn't hear it. You got to hit it. It's a 3-2 count. So go ahead and get in the box and hit. He's not going to change his mind. He's not going to ask for help. As any good manager, they'll defend their player, obviously, and a guy of his caliber with Gonzalez, much like Todd Helton, doesn't argue unless he thinks he's right.
Yeah, Huey, you made the correct observation. Obviously, I mean, he dropped his stuff so quickly that he got nicked.
Yeah, it might not have got him very hard, and it might only got the uniform, but it did get him.
So here we go, 3-2 on Adrian Gonzalez. And it's a ground ball foul.
Well, the tough thing now, if you're Adrian Gonzalez, is to refocus. Right now you're mad because you're thinking I should be at first base, and a lot of times you lose that focus for a brief second.
Yeah, but isn't it good as hitter he is, though, Jeff? Wouldn't you think I'd rather swing the bat?
Well, yeah, I mean that's why his career numbers are what they are, because he is a good hitter. And lesser would probably sit there and go, oh, I should be on first.
And he got him. Olivo will tag him. Second time in Adrian's mind he's gotten hit with the baseball. Terrific start for De La Rosa. 1-2-3 first. We'll see the Rockies on offense when we return to Coors Field.
do anything more and special because this is what I want and this is what I want to keep doing it.
And it's an exciting day, particularly for Carlos Gonzalez, because his mom and his older brother have made their way from Maracaibo in Venezuela to see him play baseball in the big leagues for the first time. And this is only his first opening day a few days ago, George, because he was a call-up with the Oakland A's 2 years ago.
Well, to call up with the Rockies. He has not experienced an opening day festivities as he's experienced here at Coors Field and again in Milwaukee. It doesn't matter where the opening day is. It's just a matter that you're not on a bus. You're not staying in bad hotels. You're in the big leagues. I mean, it's kind of like everything you work for, as Jeff mentioned in the open. From Little League on, first time you put on a uni for opening day, if this is your dream to play Major League Baseball, you finally realize you've done it.
In the air to center field, well struck. Hairston going back, still going back, and he's going to make the catch. 415 feet from home plate. This place would have erupted. That's about the only way you're getting Carlos Gonzalez out these days. The rest of the Southwest batting order for Jim Tracy. Dexter Fowler will be next, and Todd Helton. Troy Tulowitzki, Brad Hopp last year killed the Padres, hit almost 500 against him. Miguel Olivo has faced Clayton Richard 10 times in his career. Ian Stewart had a great series in Milwaukee, Clint Barmas, and then the pitcher De La Rosa. First pitch to Fowler is outside, ball one. Dexter had 3 hits, all from the right side in the series against Milwaukee. It's 3-0. Not right here, Jeff, but at some point, Chase Headley at third base played that position in the minor leagues, but for the most part in the big leagues, he's been a left fielder. Yeah. You got to test him?
You're absolutely right, Drew. I like that observation because, a guy's moving a position and coming back into the infield. That ball gets there a lot quicker. You have to make different throws. There'll be a couple times during this series that he'll get tested.
Well, not only that, I mean, he's had 2 errors already in the first series that just left. So that has been tested. The scouting report today on Mr. Clayton Richard goes a little bit like this. This left-hander has a very good explosive fastball, some easy heat, 89-93, will touch 94 times. Hard curveball, backdoor to the right-handers. Sliders he likes to use against left-handers and in early counts. Outstanding move at first base, a couple of pickoffs. And the Rockies played against him in San Diego last September. Last couple of starts, 6 starts in 09, pitched well. 2-1 with a 312 earned run average.
Helton takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Todd had Wednesday afternoon off. Jim Tracy, true to his word, he was going to rest Helton. He wants him to be fresh late in the year. He's going to rest Brad Hopp. This ball hard on the ground to Cabrera. And it's a 1-2-3 start for Clayton Richard. So the first inning is out of the way. We move to the second, no scores.
significant amount of time in spring training. I said, what does he need to do to be successful today on the hill? He said, basically, he needs to be consistent with the speed of his delivery. When he takes too much time, he kind of gets back a little bit. He's not as effective. He said, if he's quick in his delivery and uses all of his pitches, he'll be just fine, guys.
And he has the first pitch, Alana, past Kyle Blanks. This is a large, let me emphasize large man, and he's trimmed down. He's 15 pounds lighter than when we saw him last year, George. And don't be fooled, he's a big man who can run.
Well, he can run. He's got tremendous power. That's why he's hitting where he is in the lineup, particularly against the left-handers. And again, it's one of these prospects that has come to the big leagues. They hope that he lives up to the billing that has gone on with him at the minor league level.
He's 6'6" and weighs 270, down from 285 last year. He gets spun around there, 2-1.
That's appropriate. He has a tight end number.
Yeah. The wild thing, I asked him last year, I said, what kind of football did you play? Where were you recruited? He goes, I never played football. He played a little basketball. He's been a baseball guy really throughout his upbringing. And he grew up in New Mexico. His home is in Albuquerque. Here's the 2-1 that misses, so it's 3-1. And as George said, number 88 should be a tight end. And that's a strike at the knees. Blanks was ready to discard the bat.
A little bit of a delayed reaction from Mike DeMuro there.
I thought it really was on a 4th strike zone, Jeff. You'll see the same thing. I mean, the pitch is down. Oliva does a nice job of framing and holding the pitch at knee level. He's also 6'6", so things will appear a little lower when they're down in the zone.
Ground ball to third, and Stewart just got it to Helton. And there you saw Blank speed. That was a bang-bang play, Jeff.
Yeah, prime example right there, because it was a high chopper. Ian came and got it on the one hop and then set his feet and made the hard throw. But it was a bang-bang at first.
Well, fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. If Colorado scores 7 or more runs during any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a medium drink. That's a steal. Only 1 order per customer. And another chance for Stewart. Oh, nice pickup. That is a gorgeous pickup, Jeff.
I don't think people get a really good understanding of how great a play this was, because it's hit to your backhand and you go over and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get an in-between hop here. I'm just going to hope that I put my glove in the right spot, and that's exactly what Ian did.
Plus, you got to position yourself, as you talked about, the short hop, to turn your back to catch the ball so you get after it in a hurry. Because you got some speed, you're playing deep. Look how far this throw's going to be. That's what's impressive, and it's right on the money.
I like the way he shuffled his feet and made a strong throw over the top instead of trying to make that play on the run.
Stewart last year was 3rd in the National League in fielding percentage among third basemen. Number 1 was Kevin Kuzminoff, who's been a fixture for the Padres, former Evergreen product. But he was traded for the guy at the plate, Scott Hairston, who was with the Padres last year, went to Oakland, and then was traded back in the offseason for Kuzminoff. So Hairston's back, and Kuzminoff, with the very good glove, is now in Oakland.
Well, the thing about that for Hairston is he didn't have to get another piece of luggage. He still had the luggage from the first time he was with the Padres.
Yeah, he didn't get any new swag. He had all his Padres gear.
Well, Jed Hoyer, who's now the new general manager, came over from the Boston Red Sox, obviously working on a lower budget of trying to put things together and making trades the best he can with this ball club.
This guy's a good, solid player, Scott Hairston.
Well, a very good player. He's had success against De La Rosa. 4 for 7 with a couple of home runs in his career.
He's really dangerous against left-handed pitching, too. I mean, that's kind of where he's made his mark, is to be able to take those tough lefties and give him quality at bats.
2 outs, and De La Rosa ahead 1-2. That was close. Mike DeMuro thought about it. 2-2.
Well, you can tell at the 4th strike zone, you're going to see some jerks out of DeMuro because of how close Oliva sets up behind the hitters and his ability to stop pitches from going out of the strike zone.
See you later. Great pitch by Jorge De La Rosa. 6 up and 6 set down by number 29. Tulowitzki will lead it off. Lowe's tomorrow for the Scots National Lawn Care Day and learn tips from lawn care pros. So I get my tips from Lowe's, and when I'm really not sure, I visit George Frazier.
Absolutely, because I went to Lowe's and learned everything. Yeah. One of my favorite stores in America. Stop by Lowe's. They've got you-go weapons on the aisles forever. I love that store.
So you just have to teach me how to use all the equipment.
Yeah, forget about that. We don't have time.
Tire out, Drew.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question I want to ask you. In your opinion, why were the Rockies struggling under left-handers so much under Hurdle at 6-11? What was the change under Jim Tracy to go 21-15? They ended up a game over 500 versus left-handers.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more of the stability in the lineup. There weren't guys moving up and down. If it was a lefty, hit one slot. If it was a righty, they would hit in another. They came to the park knowing exactly where they were going to be hitting. And they fell into that comfort role. George, you know that ball players are creature of habits. They don't like to be messed with, and then they think it's going to mess up the whole mojo, and they like to have their spot in the lineup.
See, I also thought, too, that Jim Tracy started to do a little more bunting, started to do a little hit and run in the lineup, started to put guys in motion a little bit, open up holes into the defense. It makes a big difference, too. You know, one thing I look at, a lot of people don't, too. Who were the left-handers that put you on those 11 losses, too? Most of them weren't fifth starters working for somebody else.
No, and look in the postseason with Philadelphia. I mean, they ran Cliff Lee out there, and they had Hamels, obviously, and Happ involved also. They can still throw lefties at you, but Cliff Lee now is a member of the Seattle organization. Brad Hopp at the plate, and that pitch misses 1-1. Clayton Richards, a big man. He's 6'5", 240. He was a backup quarterback at Michigan for the Wolverines. Originally an 8th round pick. Came in the Jake Peavy deal from the White Sox. And they got 4 pitchers in return. And Richard, one of the prizes, they hope. And he did a good job in a Padres uniform in the second half after the trade last year.
Well, you know what, I say this about Kevin Towers, who's no longer there as a general manager. There was a couple of times he had to strip this team down and trade big players. Kevin Brown back in the late 90s when they went to the World Series and playoffs, 84, same type of situation. And when he made those trades, he seemed to really prosper his minor league system. He really looked for guys, and they didn't necessarily have to be big league ready. And if they were top guys in A-ball or double-A, he said, I know they'll be here in a couple of years.
Ball 4, and there's the first base runner of the game, Brad Hopp, who was always very patient. Jogs to first with 1 out. Miguel Olivo will come up. Let's take a look at the defenders for the Padres. Kyle Blank, Scott Hairston, Jerry Hairston in the outfield. Chase Headley moves from left field now with Kuzminov gone. He's at third base. Cabrera and Eckstein in the middle. Adrian Gonzalez back-to-back gold gloves. And Adrian's still chatting. He goes, I got hit.
Well, that's not going to stop for a while. He's going to keep letting it fly for a little bit.
Nick Hundley is the only man we didn't verbally ID. He's behind the plate. And here's Olivo, who homered against Milwaukee in the start behind the plate on Wednesday.
Well, people forget he was number 2 in the American League last year in home runs by a catcher with 23. Maurer had 28. Martinez was 23. Posada 22. I mean, you're talking about some pretty good hit catchers.
And not only that, I mean, Maurer's in a league by himself. But Miguel didn't have nearly the number of at-bats that Joe Mauer did. This guy's got top-shelf power.
Well, he really does, and the ability to drive in runs. And I think early on, he was worried so much about offense that he kind of let his defense go the other way. Now it's all peaked together.
Well, the other thing, too, is you look at that ballpark in Kansas City. Some of those power alleys, not the easiest to hit the ball out of.
Here's the ball he had in Milwaukee, and Miguel didn't even get all of this one. It was a towering fly ball, and Ryan Braun nearly made the catch.
In the location of the pitch, people said not a very good high ball hitter. That was a high fastball away from him. You love this tandem of catchers because you don't give up anything when either one are in the lineup. I think both are going to hit in the 250 to 270 range. I think they're both going to hit between 15 and 20 home runs with the ability to get them in the lineup for times. And they're going to catch and call the game very well. I mean, Chris Iannetta rewarded with a very nice contract based on the fact that, hey, we're going to show you we want you. You're the guy.
The other thing he brings too, George, is ability to throw out some base runners.
And a ground ball bouncing into right field. Brad Hopp's going to make the turn and head to third. Jerry Hairston in right field did not come up with it cleanly. First and third for the Rockies with 1 out.
And one of the more powerful guys coming to the plate that's had a great start to this season. And Ian Stewart, what he's been able to do. And again, you're looking at a guy with a double, a triple, couple of home runs, 3 RBIs, hitting this part of the lineup on the 4th strike zone. You can see this ball away from him. Even though he pulls off of the ball, his hands still push the ball to the right side. He was stiff in front of home plate, created the bounce, and then when Hairston bobbled it, it was nice 1st and 3rd situation. And I thought the last 2 games in Milwaukee, Drew and Jeff, that the club started to take long swings in these situations versus thinking about solid contact, small baseball.
Yeah, this is a double play ball. There's 1, and there's 2. So Richard gets the ground ball, double play off the bat of Stewart. We'll go to the 3rd, no score. No matter how many you go through, you look forward to it like a birthday party when you're a kid. You think something wonderful is going to happen. And the Rockies have had many wonderful moments, particularly here at Coors Field. They've had 3 walk-off wins, 95, of course, in extra innings when Dante Bichette hit one out. I'll never forget 2005 when a rookie by the name of Clint Barmas hit one out against Trevor Hoffman to beat these Padres. Nick Hundley takes strike 1. Nick Hundley, for a while, prepped at Fairview High School while his dad was an assistant football coach under Rick Neuheisel in Boulder. And his dad still works for Rick Neuheisel, working out at UCLA now. And that's in there also, 0-2 on Hundley.
A couple of painted fastballs, very good pitches. De La Rosa last year averaged 9.4 strikeouts per 9 innings. That led the Rockies, and it was 8th in the National League. Outside corner, heat, right where you like it, at 94 miles an hour.
Try to hit that.
There's the changeup in the dirt, 1-2. And when he gets ahead of you, there's so many ways he can put you away. Obviously, it's hard to hit 95, 96, but he has the super changeup and then his repertoire of breaking pitches.
Well, that's where, as a catcher, you look up at the hitter and go, well, what do you think? Should we give you the slider? Nah, let's go curveball. Nah, maybe changeup. Because hitters are thinking the same thing. I'm behind in the count 1-2. What's he going to give me? What's he going to offer to me to try to get me out?
If you don't sit on that 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, though, it'll be awful difficult.
Well, there's the changeup, and that's strikeout number 3 for De La Rosa, who averaged more than a strikeout per inning pitched a year ago.
Well, you look on the 4th strike zone, you'll see that this ball's a changeup, but yet it had the movement of a slow slider because he got to the side of it.
Let's take a look at the breaks plus take a break toll of the game. Text your answer to 95323. Would you skip work to go to opening day at Coors Field? If this is anything but 100%, I'll be shocked. Rocks 1 for absolutely. That's a strike.
The only guy that's not
Everett
there.
Cabrera. Oh, real quick, George. Text Rocks 2 for no. My boss would kill me. And as always, you get a $14.99 oil change and filter for most vehicles in April only. Or you get $50. Throw that graphic up again, Mike, if you could, in the truck. Get that $50 read in there as well. You get $50 off mileage maintenance service over $100. That's a great deal from Brakes Plus. 1-1 on the kid from Nicaragua, Everett Cabrera. What a good-looking young player he is.
I really struggled at Coors Field against his former ball club. 1 for 14 in his career here. Probably trying to press a little bit to impress the folks on the third floor here, but wishes he was still a part of this. The Padres did a good job scouting all the way down to Asheville in low A. Saw this young man, took him in a Rule 5 draft.
What a good break for him, because he wasn't going to play shortstop here.
No, but you know what, Jeff? They say as an athlete he could play second. He was very, very fluid. So, a guy that can really fly.
I'll tell you a story about that. That's fouled off. Richie Dower, one of the many people in the Rockies organization who had their hands on a young Everett Cabrera. And I was talking to Cabrera earlier today, and he said he gives Richie a ton of credit for helping mold him as a shortstop, because a lot of folks wanted him to play second because he could hit and he's a strong kid. And he said, I want to be a shortstop. And Dower said, all right, well then let's go. And Richie helped him immensely. He also mentioned Joe Michaluk, who's the longtime skipper in Asheville. And that was the last full season he played, George. He played in Asheville.
In the minor leagues.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And again, that was all before that guy out at shortstop showed up in a Rockies uniform. Troy Tulowitzki, but yet he wanted to try to battle that through that. Another strikeout. That's 4 on the day.
And 3 in a row. That'll bring up the former Wolverine, Clayton Richard.
Well, on the 4th strike zone, you're going to see a big slider that comes so far out of the backside of the ballpark that it goes into the corner on it. One thing he's been able to do is utilized everything. And that's something that puts into the hitter's mind, Jeff. I know that as you're sitting that dugout. You try to eliminate pitches he can throw for strikes. Right now, you can't eliminate anything.
And what I like from that 4th strike zone, too, what we were able to see is how many pitches were up in the middle of the zone and also working down. So changing eye level as well as pitch location and speed.
Clayton Richard fouls it off. So we mentioned that Richard was a backup quarterback at Michigan. In his career numbers, he was 8 of 15, 52 yards. So he didn't get a lot of run. That came in 2004, but you get an idea just how good an athlete this kid is.
Still the Big Ten.
Hey, you know what?
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like Seth Smith. They say, oh, he's a backup to Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning's one of the best quarterbacks in the business. No shame in being a backup. But somebody wanted you to play SEC football.
That's right. I mean, that just shows you how good an athlete he is. And even if he only got, 15 attempts, still 15 attempts more than a lot of other guys.
Look, 3-1. And as we all know, traditionally, Michigan has some outstanding quarterbacks. Let's show you the Rockies coaching staff graphically. No changes on the staff from a year ago. Tommy Runnels sits next to Jim Tracy. Bob Apodaca is the pitching coach. He's been in that position for a long time. Don Baylor in his 2nd year as a hitting coach, the former skipper. Richie Dowers at third base. He works with the infielders. Glenn Allen Hill works with the outfielders and assists Don Baylor with the hitters and works first base. Jim Wright's out in the bullpen. Mark Strittmatter works with the catchers and is also the bullpen catcher. He's been with the organization a long time. There's Jimmy Wright.
Hey, Tom, real quick, Drew. Tommy Runnels wanted me to give a shout out to his dad, Dr. Bob Runnels, who's recovering from some health issues up in Greeley. So best wishes to TR's dad. You
bet. And that miss. So the first base runner is the pitcher, Clayton Richard, as he walks on a 3-2 pitch. It was 8 up and 8 set down until that delivery. So that'll bring up Jerry Hairston. He grounded to third to begin the ball game. concentration lapse, George?
Well, a little bit. I think he got frustrated when he fell to 3-1 count. Then he fouled the ball off, and you just try to throw the ball a little bit harder, start to press. And I think for De La Rosa right now is go back after the top of this order. Don't create a 2-out mistake into a giant mistake.
Melton will play behind Richard. Give himself another couple of steps of room. Pitcher's not going anywhere, particularly with a left-hander. 0-1 on Jerry Hairston. I think I mentioned it earlier. 4 years the senior of Scott Hairston. And what a thrill for these two guys. They'd never played together, save a couple of weeks playing for Team USA during the World Baseball Classic. Other than that, because of the age separation, they'd never been on the same team before.
Well, it's kind of like Adrian Gonzalez and Edgar Gonzalez were able to play together for a couple of years with the Padres. Now Edgar's over in Japan. Same situation, though. An opportunity to play at the big league level and be around your brother every single day. That's pretty special.
Absolutely. Edgar, by the way, is with the Tokyo Giants. Hey, Scott. Good job by Miguel Olivo, 1-2. And, of course, they grew up in the game. There are 3 generations now at Hairston's Frage that have played at the big league level.
They are, and I mean, when it's in the family like this, it's just it's kind of a neat deal that all the brothers can get together. They're playing on this one ball club together. The time for mom, dad. I mean, it's a win-win situation.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed. So De La Rosa with his 5th punch out ends up getting the side. Richard walked. He's left at first. Middle of 3. No score at Coors Field. The home opener, 2010.
Life is a lease. Negotiate well.
82. Errors. 12.
And there is Clint Barmas. Takes the first pitch for a ball. And that's in there, 1-1 on Barmas. Thought he did a good job, Jeff, of working the ball the other way in that Milwaukee series.
Well, he just tried to stay inside. Sometimes Clint will get in the habit of getting a little too pull conscious and then really cuts off the outside part of the plate for him.
And this ball in the air to right center field and battling the sun. I don't know if he sees it. He does now. Is Jerry Hairston.
There's a little rattling around in that glove, too.
1 out. This Day in History is brought to you by Depth One Marketing Solutions. Business results. April 9th, 4 years ago, Corey Sullivan became the 11th player in Major League history to hit 2 triples in the same inning. And the first since 1951. The Rockies leadoff hitter that day had 2 triples in the 7th inning as the Rockies won convincingly. Oh, that brought to you by Dex. De La Rosa quickly behind 0-2. And De La Rosa is gone on 3 pitches. 2 outs. That'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez, who very nearly hit one out his first time up. He chased Scott Hairston to the wall in center field. Thought about bunting. Headley playing behind the bag.
Clayton Richard doesn't take much time in between pitches. He gets that ball right back up there, and that's part of the reason Carlos Gonzalez had to step out just a second ago, because he's trying to quick pitch him.
Yeah, there may have been a discussion in the dugout. Barmas did the same thing, Huey. Trying to slow his pace down, get him off tempo.
You have to, as a hitter, when they're sitting there out there going rapid fire, you got to do something to disrupt them a little bit.
And it's bounced to short. Cabrera on the move, underneath the glove, and heading to the second is Gonzalez. As the Gold Glover Adrian Gonzalez couldn't come up with the low throw by Cabrera.
How difficult is it, Jeff, when the third baseman cuts out to get to the baseball, and then all of a sudden he backs away from it? I mean, I know you have to have great focus on that as a shortstop, and Cabrera has a very strong arm.
It's hard, and that's part of the reason why you mentioned it, Chase Headley. After about 3 steps, you got to stop, because you have to realize that this is the shortstop's ball, and now you've just created a little bit of difficulty for him. And then Adrian Gonzalez tried to stretch out there as far as he could, but that's a distraction for a shortstop when it comes just like that. The other thing is, as a first baseman, if you're Adrian Gonzalez, you think that ball is going to tail back to you a little bit, so you start more towards the inside part of the bag at first base. You don't think that throw is going to go to the outside part.
That also emphasizes what it means to have Todd Helton with all the scoops he made a year ago, over 60. Which led all of major leagues at first to save those type of errors and put a man in scoring position.
So the error on Cabrera. 1 strike count on Fowler. See if the Rockies can take advantage. You know, Richard's been very good. The Rockies only hit a bouncer to the right through the right side of the infield by Miguel Olivo last inning. And he got tied up the knots. It's 0-2. You go back to his last start of a year ago, when he one-hit the Dodgers. Clayton Richard, over his last 30 hitters faced, has allowed 1 hit, 3 walks, and 2 have reached via error.
Well, you can just tell he's got a pretty good idea of what he wants to do out on the hill. He's got the game plan. He's a thinking man's pitcher that he understands, trying to set up hitters, go fastball in, up and away, whatever you have to do to set up the off-speed pitches and pitch off that fastball.
On the ground, up the middle. Cabrera comes up with it. Safe at first. Leg hit for Fowler. That play by Cabrera saved a run, though. Gonzalez had to halt at third. But it'll bring up Helton to face Richard with 2 on and 2 outs.
And it obviously looks like Gonzalez is not having a good day with the umpires. He felt like at first base that he'd gotten hit in the previous at bat. This looked like he thought, from when he pulled off of the bag, he felt like that they had gotten Fowler. Great play going back up to the middle by Cabrera, off balance throwing on the money to first base.
Well, down here, it looked like it was a bang-bang play. I thought Tim Wilkie, in all honesty, got that right.
Helton bounced to Cabrera his first time up. See what the Rockies do. Great speed aboard. Fowler was moving back to the bag. Now, Richard has an outstanding move, not just for a left-hander. Talking to some scouts about Richard said he really holds runners well, and he's very deceptive.
Extremely deceptive. Not a lot of box called on him a year ago. That's why you won't see a lot of
Down
leads.
the line, glove by Adrian Gonzalez. So the Rockies now twice have put runners at first and third. Nothing to show for it. We'll go to the fourth. Scoreless.
Tracy about his favorite opening day moment. He said, you know what, as a manager, it has to be the first team I ever managed back in 2001. And he said it was a 1-0 win. Gary Sheffield went yard against the Milwaukee Brewers. And he said, as a manager, that's absolutely so special. He said, now as a player, people like to talk about their first major league hit or their first home run on an opening day. He said, I really didn't have any of those to speak of, as he joked with the media earlier today. But opening day is special for everybody, whether you're a player, a fan, or the guy that's controlling them all, Drew.
All right, Alana, thank you. And as we go to the fourth inning, 2, 3, and 4 in the Padres lineup: David Eckstein, Adrian Gonzalez, Kyle Blanks. Eckstein hit a little floater that Tulowitzki grabbed. Jim Tracy, a long minor league career as a manager before getting a head job with the Dodgers. Stewart throws out Eckstein.
Speaking of heaven on earth, how about this field out here today? Well, Mark Razum, of course, we talk about him all the time, does a wonderful job. Had an opportunity to talk to him a little bit. So it was a little bit challenging with the spring and the snow, and then it'd warm up to 70. But I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, folks, because this is a perfect playing position or field right now. The dirt, everything is spectacular. And the grass, it smells good. Everything's wonderful out here. And tip of the cap to Mark and his crew.
Well, you know what? They really are very well thought of in the game of baseball for the work they do at Coors Field. The field is always immaculate, and they have more challenges than a lot of places because of, you know, the strangeness at times of our weather. You know, Raz is getting his the field together for Asia the other day, and they get 4 or 5 inches of snow.
Well, a little over water.
Yeah,
wasn't a bad thing. Didn't have to run the sprinklers at that. Yeah, I know it's got to be difficult in this area as it is in the north, particularly places like the Twin Cities where the new ballpark's opening up outdoors in the cold weather. It's been nice.
And no dome. When you played there, you played inside.
Yeah, Metrodome's gone. They wanted outside baseball.
Here's the 1-1 foul tip. 1-2.
Hey, quick note very quickly. Last night, Colorado Springs opened the season with a 2-0 victory. Yolis Shashin, one-hit baseball over 5 innings. The Drillers lost in Tulsa. They opened their brand new ballpark with over 9,000 fans at the ballpark downtown Tulsa. They did lose the ball game 7-0. But Christian Friedrich very good last night. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run, a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. And Juan Nicasio made his debut with the Modesto Nuts last night. Picked up the win in that ball game, going nearly 6 innings, 5 hits, a couple of runs, only one of those earned. And unfortunately, Asheville lost last night, 10-8 to Lakewood, or 10-7 to Lakewood.
Yeah, it was great to see Chassin start the year. Basically, George, as we saw him throw, we didn't see him a lot, but 2 years ago, he was 18-3, minor league pitcher of the year in the Rockies organization. He got some national accolades. And Christian Friedrich, who just dominated 2 levels of A-ball last year.
I really
had
think
an outstanding performance in his first Double-A challenge. Here's the 2-2, and Gonzalez is struck out for the second time. That is number 6 already for Jorge De La Rosa. Hey, Jeff, this is a different man out there.
Well, I was coming into this ball game thinking, okay, what are we going to get out of Jorge in the first inning? I mean, to me, that was really going to set the tone of how far this young man has come in his development, winning 16 ball games last year. And to be able to come out and get an easy ground ball, easy soft little liner, and then strike out Adrian Gonzalez, that just really set this whole game in motion.
And you know what? You mentioned that, Miguel Olivo worked with De La Rosa in Kansas City, worked with him in spring training. Ooh. He plunks Kyle Blanks on the leg. But, Olivo's been putting whatever he puts down, De La Rosa's been throwing. So they've been on the same page.
Well, that's something as a pitcher you'd like to have. You go in with that game plan. Is it going to be first pitch strike? We're going to change it second time through. And it's all going to depend on your command down in the bullpen. When you're warming up for the ball game, and the command, and a lot of people don't think of this, but the 8 pitches you have in between innings, I see some guys go out to the mound and really just kind of half-heartedly get their arm loose and throw down. Some have the ability to do that. But if you don't have a feel for one of your pitches, curveball, slider, change, you may find that in those 8 warm-up pitches. So that's why those are so important.
Chase Headley. And he takes a strike.
You can lay out any game plan you want to with your pitching coach, catcher, but if you don't have the stuff that day to match that game plan, then you got to be able to adjust, and he does that very well, or can now, I should say.
It varies, George. You would know better than anybody. It varies for some starting pitchers how many they throw in the bullpen before the game even starts. And some guys will throw 70, 80 full go. This is after they've gotten loose, long toss. 70, 80 pitches, that could be 6 innings of work before they even start inning number 1. And then you have the other side of it. Tim Lincecum supposedly throws 13 pitches in the bullpen, and then out he goes. Yeah,
a little bit more than that. But most of the guys are in that 30 to 45 range before they'll come out. But some guys that are struggling.
Runner going 0-2, ground ball, right side, and it's on through. Now, Huey, let me ask you something. On an 0-2 pitch, what's the rule for middle infielders? In that situation?
Yeah, you have to hold your ground just a little bit more, and especially the way that Kyle Blanks got the break on the baseball. I mean, as soon as that leg came up, and Clint right now should be right in that position, stopped, and not continuing on to the bag. Who knows if he would have been able to get back over there. But 0-2, I want to make sure that I've got that hitter covered before worrying about that base runner quite as much.
So many guys with 2 outs, meaning managers now are telling their defense, you just sit still. If we get the stolen base, sometimes we're not even going to throw through the bag. We'll let him get into second, but hold the defense, particularly with an 0-2 count.
Well, the other thing you can do, too, as a second baseman, too, you can shuffle a little bit so you're still squared up to home plate. You don't actually get turned and start to run towards the base.
Scott Hairston, who struck out, but has very good numbers, as you see, against De La Rosa. 4 for 8 and a couple of home runs. He's up there first and third with 2 outs. First threat of any kind for San Diego.
If you're struggling as a team, Jeff, and again, the Padre Ball Club has some veterans, but most of the mix is younger guys. As a manager, wouldn't you think you tried things that normally you wouldn't try?
Yeah, because a lot of times you're sitting there going, we have really nothing to lose. So let's go ahead and do it. And I'm going to take some of the pressure off the player, and I'm going to put it on myself. And all he has to do is go out there and execute. Right there was a prime example. Headley's down in the count 0-2. He says, Kyle Blanks, take off first movement. If they pick you off, so what? Headley starts off the next inning, and we'll go from there. But they end up getting a base hit. Now it's first and third. It's a little traffic in a game that you really felt like the Rockies and Jorge was kind of dominating in.
Plus, you got to factor Guy Harrison at the plate that's had great numbers in his career versus left-handers and against De La Rosa. So if it works, it's going to be a huge win-win situation for you to have that opportunity to score.
And one of the few 2-0 counts of the ball game for De La Rosa. Two and one. De La Rosa facing Scott Hairston, who last year hit .299 in a Padre uniform and 197 at bats, but just .236 with Oakland in more than 200 at bats. He did end up with 17 home runs. Strong man.
Well, he went from a ball club that he was pretty happy to be on to a club I don't think he was very happy to be on. And I think when you do that, it obviously affects your play in the midseason. You're hunting down an apartment, staying in a hotel. You don't have all your clothes, cars. A lot of things affect that type of situation. High fastball, able to throw it right by him. 94 miles an hour.
I think we saw that with Jason Giambi last year.
Two and two. Swung on and missed. De La Rosa takes care of it himself. 2 more strikeouts in the inning. He's got 7 punch-outs in 4 innings. He's a hit for San Diego, kind of a seeing eye chopper through the right side. De La Rosa's been terrific, and you have to tip your cap so far to Clayton Richard. Second look for Troy Tulowitzki. He'll be followed by Brad Hopp and Miguel Olivo. Troy bounced to second, and he takes high ball 1. You know, Richard, when he was coming up in the White Sox chain, was compared to, and they had their fingers crossed it would work out this way, to Mark Burley. But for me, though he gets a lot of ground balls, George, he throws much harder than Burley.
Well, absolutely he does. Burley's more 84, 87 and quick outs and a lot of change-ups. And his fastball, not particularly. Maybe it was just his body motion and his delivery a lot like Burley's with the late kick. But stuff, so to me, he hasn't done anything or accomplished what Burley has.
That's under the glove of Adrian Gonzalez. And Troy Tulowitzki on a scorcher to the right side is aboard, leading off the 4th inning.
I thought he should have caught that ball, Jeff. I don't know about you. He's typically pretty good first baseman.
You know, he got a real late break on that. It didn't look like he saw it off the bat real well, because the way he attacked it just didn't look like he saw it. I mean, that's a ball that you've seen him get to before and make that play.
Now a base hit awarded to Troy Tulowitzki.
So Brad Hopp, who walked, will step up. And Tulo, who stole 20 bases last year. He's at first base. And I don't think it's going to come here, but Huey, he wants to expand on that number.
Well, he has the opportunity to, because he's going to be out there a lot. And the other thing he has now is some experience. He understands guys' moves, when he can run, when he can't, when he needs to stay at first. All that comes with just more games at the big league level.
That's an area where Richard has had trouble.
This ball's driven to left field and well. And it is off the base of the wall. Tulowitzki read it well. He'll get to third base, hop to second with a double. Nobody out for the Rockies in the fourth. That was about 3 or 4 feet from going out.
And Hop looking down into that left field corner to see where this ball landed and how close it actually was to getting out of this ballpark. On the 4th strike zone, look at this pitch, folks. It's up, but it's on the outer half of the plate a little bit to allow Brad to extend his arms. No bail with his lower half. Such a strong guy, and just took advantage of where the pitch was located and with the velocity, and just took it to the opposite field to the base of the wall.
That was a pitch last year that was beating him in the second half. With that leg kick, just wasn't getting it down in time. Now it's much quieter, able to drive that ball.
Here's Miguel Olivo. Infield's back, and that's in the strike zone. 0-1. The Rockies in the early going this year, 3 1/3 ball games, if you will. 5 for 33 with runners in scoring position.
They still got to drive the ball to the right side here.
That was his intent on that swing.
But isn't it hard, Tim? I mean, you're saying right side, but you're sitting there looking at a situation where the guy hit 23 home runs. He's got a lot of big-time power. He sees 2 RBIs out in front of him. I mean, if he gets a pitch to drive, I mean, you know, I just think in a hitter's mind, particularly a guy like this that's driven in runs, RBI, home run guy, he's looking to really try to do something with the baseball special.
Yeah, but he's strong enough where he can do something special even in the right center field gap or over the right center field wall. And I just think early on now, and Drew just mentioned the numbers a moment ago, that you got to make sure that you get a productive out at least here.
341 career average against the Padres for Olivo.
And that's off the mask. That got Mike DeMuro.
Nice job from Nick Hundley just to ask him if he's okay, and now he's going to walk out there second.
Buy him a little time to get his eyesight, get a little more comfortable back behind the plate again before you do something. On the Southwest Sky Cam, we'll get a shot of this spinning that mask around the flinch of DeMuro behind the plate. They say the new hockey mask, and it seems more umpires going with that, absorbs the shock much better than what you would get, obviously, with the old-fashioned type of mask. It is hot, can be uncomfortable to wear, but it is much lighter than the old mask.
Well, just looking at Nick Hundley, he's going old school. He just has the helmet and the mask. He doesn't do the hockey helmet.
Foul tip, and it's held by Hundley, so Olivo goes down. Just the second strikeout for Richard, but it's a huge one because now there's 1 out, and Richard can work against Stewart left on left. Don Baylor was saying before the ball game, we struck out 24 times in Milwaukee in 3 games. He said that's too big a number for me. And of course, that was an issue at times last year. The Rockies had the 2nd most strikeouts in the National League. Stewart takes ball 1. And, you know, it's not just the 2-strike situation, Huey, and you can embellish this. He said early in counts there were pitches that we didn't fire at that were good pitches to hit.
Yeah, sometimes your best pitch you're going to hit might be the first one that you see.
That's hooked foul.
And so if you're not properly prepared to go up there and say, okay, if it's a pitch in my zone, what I'm going to look for, then you're going to be lost up there. Then you fall behind, and then all of a sudden you're fighting uphill, and you end up striking out.
2 sliders in a row, 1 off of the plate, the last hung.
2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Inside, Tulowitzki's at third. He singled. Brad Hop doubled off the left field wall. And you look at the left-handed bats in the Rockies lineup. Carlos Gonzalez can hit it out foul pole to foul pole. Helton, when he hits the ball out now, it's typically on the pull side. Of course, earlier in his career, he'd go foul pole to foul pole. That's inside. Brad Hop, Ian Stewart, they can hit it out to any place in the ballpark.
And that's what makes them special, to be able to do that. Because as you mentioned, a lot of guys just have pull power. They can't hit it out the other way. And these guys, you just have to find your spots to pitch to.
3-1, broken bat, floater that'll drop. 1 run is scored. Here comes Brad Hopp. The throw to the plate is not in time. 2-run single for Ian Stewart. The Rockies are up 2-love.
I go back to that sac fly that he had in Milwaukee the other day, where he stayed in the middle of the field, the 4th strike zone. Tried to work that pitch away from him. It wasn't a bad pitch in a bad location. If Ian pulls off that, he swings short, or maybe he has a real easy ground ball back to the pitcher. Instead, he's able to stay through the zone long enough, hit it off the end of the bat, to hit it into center field, driving a couple runs.
Well, being one of the hottest hitters, 3-1 slider away from him, that he was able to get it off the end of the bat and did get the base hit. Just kind of wonder if they were hoping that ball get a little bit out of the zone and away from it. Now go with the bases loaded and face Clint Barnes.
Tell you who's had a rough day already. That's Adrian Gonzalez. He almost, he felt like he got hit in the first inning. He had the shot under his glove. He had the low throw from Cabrera. Richard Huey almost threw that to you.
Yeah. He's like, okay, wait a second. Just hit me in the chest. This guy's not going anywhere right now.
And Adrian tweaked his side in the Arizona series, getting out of the way of a head-high fastball.
And who knows, maybe that's affecting him a little bit.
1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, Jeff, that's one of those things that, unless an injury is, puts you on the DL, you never know what guys are playing with and why. You say, hey, how come he didn't get to that ball? And, they may be gimpy, but they're gutting it out, that sort of thing.
Well, think when you have a bad cough and your ribs start to hurt after a while and you keep coughing, and that's maybe what's going on with Adrian Gonzalez. Those ribs are hurting, and he's trying to go out there and still play, but they're hurting pretty good for him.
Barmes fights it off to right field. Jerry Hairston's there. Stewart halfway will return. Time for our AT&T trivia question, with the Rockies up 2-0. Who is the only other Rocky besides Todd Helton who has worn number 17? Yeah, that's a wonderful trivia question, because I didn't think anybody ever wore 17. It seemed like Helton has been here since the Rockies began. We'll give you the answer in a little bit. Our AT&T trivia question. De La Rosa struck out his first time, and with that swing, he's setting them up, isn't he? No.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. No, I just think that was a really bad swing on a pretty good pitch. Why are you throwing me a fastball that's cutting at 91 miles an hour?
From Ian Stewart, Jeff, I'm a half a step off that bag, because the last thing you want to do is get picked off with the pitcher up there in 2 outs.
I might take a Little League where I keep a foot on the bag.
Yeah. Go once it crosses the plate.
Yeah.
On the ground to second. And Eckstein will throw out De La Rosa. Rockies come up with 2. Tulowitzki and Hopp set the table. Stewart brought him home. The burger shop in Burger Shack, number 17. Great burgers, hand-cut fries. That's out in left field. That's new this year. So Todd's got a place deep. But going back to the Mountain Ranch Club, on all those outdoor tables, there's a TV now, so you can watch the ball game as you dine. And you can reserve it for the evening, or you can reserve it for the whole season, a table.
Pretty nice spot to go and watch a little baseball from, I can tell you that.
I mean, that's pretty with the windows open.
Doesn't get any better than that, does it?
By the way, Todd Helton does not own that hamburger stand.
But his name's on it.
His name is on it. Does not profit from it in any way. Just kind of having a hamburger stand out there. I wonder if he threw out the ingredients of Mom's cheeseburger.
Nick Hundley swings through a fastball. It's 0-1. Hundley struck out in the third inning. De La Rosa's allowed 3 base runners. He walked the pitcher Clayton Richard with 2 outs in the third. This ball is hit a long way foul. Kyle Blanks he hit with 2 outs last inning, and then Chase Headley hit a 2-hopper that went through the right side. It would have been right to Clint Barmas, but he went to cover the bag because Blanks was running. So that's it. 0-2 on Nick Hundley.
You know, right after that play, that inning ended. Both Jorge and Clint came into the dugout, and Jorge kind of put his arm around Clint, said, "Hey, don't worry about it." And I'm sure Clint was saying, "You know what? I'll get that one next time." But it was nice to see that communication. Immediately they came off the field and realized, you know what? Nothing was harmed. We got out of it.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing about it, that you pick each other up. Pitchers pick up players, players pick up pitchers. There's times you make a mistake and walk a guy. There's nothing more frustrating for a position player that all of a sudden see a pitcher shaking his head because you did not make a play.
That'll get the guys angry in a hurry.
Here's the 1-2 on Hundley. Got him. That's dirty. That's the changeup. And Jeff, when you have to cover 95, 96, and then you get that, can you describe how difficult that is?
Well, it's very difficult because you're gearing up for one thing, and then all of a sudden it's not there. The forward strike zone will show where the location is, and that to me is the whole key to that pitch. It comes out of the hand as a fastball about thigh high, maybe at the knees, and then it works underneath there, and you just can't catch up to it.
By the way, that strikeout is 8th of the ball game, ties an opening day record by Estacio and Chacon. Yeah, how about those couple of names out of the past? Estacio did it in 99, Chacon in 03.
I'm going out on the limb and saying that's going down.
Well, both of those guys did it in 7 innings.
There's a bunt by Cabrera. De La Rosa with the glove flip. You know what? He's been watching Burley. He just didn't go between his legs.
Didn't go between his legs and have to make a throw behind his back to Todd.
And you know, this is an appropriate point to mention something. He's a better fielder this year, they believe, because he lost 13 pounds coming into the season.
A little more agile. He's able to get to balls, do some things, get off of the mound. And when he went over to get this ball, he didn't feel comfortable making the transition, so he just scooped and flipped to Todd Helton. Nice play to complete the out, second out to get a speedy Cabrera, and you've got a pitcher up. Hopefully handle this and get out of this inning and be done with it.
Well, the only other way he could have made that is if you tried to backhanded shovel pass like you would see a middle infielder do.
Yeah, maybe the only other way on top of that, Jeff, not just thinking out, if he'd have just picked it and ran to the bag on his own.
Well, with Cabrera's speed, that would have been that would have been a foot race. But yeah, that might have been the only other way. But he jumped off that mound pretty quick.
That must be a new thing as Clayton Richard takes ball 1. Cook lost 19 pounds. De La Rosa lost 13 pounds coming into the season.
See, I never really understood that. You work so hard to put it on. All the wonderful food. Why do you want to get rid of it? Although
Frazier lost 26 pounds.
I lost 26 pounds through the winter, but that was through hard work. It wasn't because of lack of eating. I'll tell you that right now.
No, you don't like to miss those meals.
No, I don't.
Here's the 1-1 on Richard. And that's a strike, 1-2. It's interesting, Jeff. Miguel Olivo, 2 outs, nobody on, pitchers up, and he walked Richard the last time. He went out to the mound to say something to De La Rosa. I'm guessing maybe something to do with, hey, don't lose your focus.
No, I think the other thing that could have been true, Drew, is that he wanted to give himself a chance to catch his breath just a little bit after that play. just to make sure that, okay, you okay with your breath, everything's good, you're ready to go, you're focused. Okay, now let's get this guy. But that's a veteran move right there, just to make sure everything's okay, that he doesn't start to rush it and do something stupid and allow the pitcher to be on base.
Ooh, boy, Mike DeMuro did everything but ring him up, and it's 3-2 again on Richard.
Yeah, I didn't understand this not being a call. I can understand maybe if it's Gonzalez versus De La Rosa, but this is a pitcher hitting at the plate, painted the outside corner. De La Rosa thought he had strike 3. Let's see if he did catch a little bit of this. We'll take a look on the Southwest Skycam, the camera that all the umpires dislike it, but on this time they're going to like it a little bit.
Mike DeMuro lives here in the Denver metropolitan area. Here's the 3-2. And on the ground, Ian Stewart charging, firing, and that is all for the Padres. They go quickly and quietly in the 5th. 8 strikeouts for De La Rosa. Rockies lead 2-0 in the home opener. Gorgeous American flag, and that is an enormous one also. Jorge De La Rosa's been filthy, nasty. You don't want to have a bat in your hand with him on the hill today. 5 innings of shutout baseball. Clayton Richards been very good, but he gave up that base hit that drove in 2 off the bat of Ian Stewart. The Rockies lead it 2-0. That's our Cooney Lexus look back. Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. And this ball is lofted to left, and it is a base hit for Carlos Gonzalez. He has 3 multi-hit games coming in, and he's now 1 for 3 here in this ball game. So again, the Rockies have the leadoff man on. And that'll bring up Dexter Fowler, who's 1 for 2.
Now you might see the game slow down just a little bit if you're Clayton Richards, because you got a guy at first that's got speed, a guy at the plate that can handle the bat, he can bunt. All of a sudden Chase Headley's in on the grass. We'll see a couple throwovers at some point early on.
You know, if you can push a bunt like that, you're going to cause problems, because Eckstein just did get there.
Well, a couple of good things happen. If he's safe, you got first and second, nobody out. Otherwise, you move, advance the runner with a harder lineup. Your RBI guys coming up.
Huey, that's great execution. It's exactly where he wanted to bunt the baseball. Try to push it past Richard, who falls to the third base side.
Well, really in the Bermuda Triangle, somewhere past the pitcher, towards the second baseman, and then it becomes a judgment call. Who's going to get it? Is it going to be the first baseman? Who is it? And you're right, Drew, the way Richards kind of falls off to the left. He quickly got off there, though, and Eckstein, with this speed, was able to just barely beat Dexter Fowler.
I thought heads-up play by Eckstein, though. I mean, he watched him this thing keep going, and he was already making a move to the bag, but he got there in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, David Eckstein, he's just a headsy player. That's nothing new for him. That's part of the reason why he's at the big leagues, because it's not just all talent for him.
Here's the 0-1 on Helton, and that's in there. It's 0-2. Todd's now ready to go. In his career, Helton, with 2 strikes, has hit in the mid-270s. That is the #1 mark of all active players. Outside 1-2. And Todd, the last time he was at Coors Field, final homestand of 09, he went 15 of 35, drove in 8 runs, and scored 10. Gonzalez at second with 1 out. 2-2 on Todd. Outfield straight up. Repair that chip in your windshield now. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. Glad to have the folks with Safelite back with us here in 2010. Helton's 0 for 2 in the ball game. Hit a ball sharply down the first base line, but Adrian Gonzalez was standing near the bag. And this ball is fouled off. So the Rockies last year at home, 51-30. Only the Giants better in the National League. And keep in mind that they started the year 7-13 at 20th and Blake, and then went 44-17 the rest of the way. The only team in baseball better at home from June 1st on, the New York Yankees, and it was only by a game. High, 3-2. Tulowitzki on deck. One other note on the proficiency of the Rockies at Coors Field a year ago. It was their second best home record ever. I had to go back to 1996, the second year that Coors Field was open for business. The only time the Rockies have been better at home. There goes Gonzalez, and it's driven a right base hit. Gonzalez will trot home. 3-0 Colorado. Oh, that's 17. Still pretty good, isn't he?
As you mentioned, Drew, get to 0-2. It doesn't phase him. He just works his way back to a 3-2 count. And I'm not sure there were too many people in the ballpark that thought that Carlos Gonzalez was going to take off there.
Yeah, dangerous to do it, too, with a left-handed bat on a swing and miss. But that's just a hanging slider to Todd Helton. You can see on the 4 strikes on that ball hung on the inner half. Flattened out, which Richard had a tendency to do that. If he works around it, it'll just flatten, stay in the zone.
Frazier,
on the sky cam here, on the Southwest sky cam, you can see that ball not anywhere near where they wanted the pitch to be thrown.
I was going to say, Frazier went to his Reggie swing there.
Yeah, a little drop back foot down.
And Tulowitzki pops it up, and Gonzalez has it in foul ground.
That back knee of Todd's was on the ground when he finished that swing.
Prevent the full circle so you don't rupture the back, as Reggie used to say. So anyway, I mean, but again, with that left-handed bat up, if he paints that slider and you get thrown out at third, that's pretty risky to do with 1 out. Excuse me, yeah, with 1 out when it all was happening.
Brad Hopp, a walk in the second, and a bullet double off the left field wall last inning.
As a young pitcher, I think one thing you learn very quickly, guys like Helton, Hopp, Stewart, you're not going to intimidate them by dropping down a little bit with that slider. You know what I mean? It's not going to get them to bail off of the ball very often.
And this is in the air to left field. Kyle Blanks is out there. He makes the catch. Carlos Gonzalez got the inning started with a base hit. Helton would bring him around. 3-0 Rockies. Well, he did because his first two he punched out.
Yeah.
So he wanted to get it over with early. Another 1-2-3 inning for De La Rosa, 3-0 Colorado. Bouncing base hit for the Padres. Jorge De La Rosa has been virtually unhittable.
Unbelievable way to come in and start this. One hit through 6 innings. He had a walk.
This ball's yanked foul.
Well, we're going to take another look at the 4th strike zone. We showed it to you on the last batter, Mr. Gonzalez. So, again, here's all the different things for you to look at and what you're looking at. An 84-mile-an-hour slider, the last pitch. The miles per hour when it reached home plate was actually 79. Here's the fastball. It was up in the zone. When it left the hand, it was at 93. It was at 88. The horizontal break on it was 6 inches. The vertical break 5. And the rotation on that fastball, you think this spins per second, 1190.
1-2.
You know what I think of, George? I think what a wonderful thing the human brain is to be able to process all of that and then still decide whether he's going to swing or not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're trying to look at all these different things you're seeing there on your screen on the 4th strike zone. So now this will give you a whole different look at where that ball was. 87. It's a slider down in the dirt. 82 at the home plate area. Now the ball broke down. But again, the reason I think a lot of things cut short was the spin ratio was way down on the pitch.
Huey, your vision was so good, you used to count rotations of the baseball on the way to the plate, didn't you?
Yeah, it's spin, rotation, gravitational pull, all of that.
Yeah, tilt.
Yeah. I wish.
Here's the 3-2. And Olivo is gone.
Another look at that. Just 84-mile-an-hour slider, 79 at the plate area, 4-inch horizontal break on it. And the spin ratio climbed a little bit better, had a little tighter break to it. We'll show that to you off and on during the course of ball games this year.
Yeah, that's fun. With 1 out, Olivo retired. Stewart steps in. A 2-run broken bat, soft line drive single to center his last time up.
Well, a lot has been made of what Cargo has done, all the hits that he's gotten. What is it now? 9 for 17, 9 for 18. So can't forget about what this guy's meant to the lineup down as far as he is. In the lineup, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs now in the season for Stewart.
Early season leader in ribbies. And this ball high in the air, right center field. Did he get it? No.
I'm not sure that Harrison knew exactly where he was because he kind of started to squat down as if he was going to have to jump to get to that baseball.
Second time that Scott Hairston has had pain on his back, fielding long drives off the bat of a Rockies player. Our AT&T trivia answer, looking for who else wore 17 besides Todd Helton. Todd's worn it since broke in 97. How about the first opening day pitcher for the Rockies, George? David Need.
Well, that is something that threw that out, but I'm like you. I mean, Helton put that uniform on so long ago. I didn't know anybody else even. I didn't know the number existed in the Rockies' opportunity for guys to wear it.
Todd's been wearing it so long they had wool uniforms back in the day. Barmes, a couple of fly balls to right field, 2 outs. And this is chopped foul. 1-2. He's down in the ball game, but Clayton Richard, fellas, has been most impressive.
I thought he has been too. I mean, 7 hits over 6 innings, 3 runs. A pitch here, a pitch there from getting out, and you're looking at a deadlock 0-0.
Strike 3 on the inside corner. So Richard strikes out 2 of the 3 he faces in the 6th. He has 4 in the game. Rockies find Jorge De La Rosa leading 3-0 as we turn the page to the 7th. Where the no was my boss would kill me. So 98% said absolutely, and 2% live in fear of their boss.
I thought maybe they might have been the crossing guard for any of the kids that stayed to school.
Yeah.
Or the guys running the bus routes. One of the keys to De La Rosa through last year's success was retiring the leadoff man. And it's kind of a statistic that goes unnoticed. But last year he retired 70% of the leadoff men. And today it has been 100% going into the 7th inning. You just prevent big innings when you're able to start the inning out with 1 out, nobody on base. He led all starters last year at 7.
2-0 on Kyle Blanks. I mean, not only has he gotten the first guy, but it's been rare that he's been really behind in the count on a 2-0 pitch. Tulowitzki deep in the hole, and he gets it to Helton in time.
You see, there was a difference right there. We saw a play earlier with Chase Headley going across and cutting in front of Cabrera. That time Ian Stewart took a step, realized, you know what, that's not for me. That's Tulo's ball. He just sets himself and makes a strong throw. And that's a smart play, and a guy that's played third base, he knows the range of his shortstop, understanding, and that's good communication between those 2 guys.
I'll tell you what else it is, Jeff. It's a guy in Tulowitzki who pays attention to every detail. He was listening in the scouting meeting when they said, hey, don't beat deceived when the big guy comes to the plate. This ball driven to Dexter Fowler. He's got it. In that, Tulowitzki caught it and got rid of it quickly because Blanks, despite being enormous, runs really well. Fans, if you'd like to receive notification when Colorado scores 7 or more runs for the Feed Your Fever Taco Bell offer, text the keyword taco to 95323. You can do it right now. Chase Headley's fly ball there to Dexter Fowler is the first ball hit out of the infield. There's 2 outs in the 7th inning, folks. De La Rosa has allowed 1 hit. It was a chopper through the right side. And this ball is fouled off by Scott Hairston, who's 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts.
Well, I want to go back to a point that Alana made earlier in the broadcast with Miguel Olivo talking about Jorge and the way he really has to stay back. From the side of Jorge right now, he's almost coming up to a kind of a pause when he brings that leg up. Right there, kind of a little hitch, and then he goes to home plate.
That's to keep his balance point because he had such a tendency to break late. The front side would float. When it did, his arm would be late, and then the pitches would be up in the strike zone. So that hesitation that he has in the windup, he can also implement it into the delivery with a guy on first base because he's left-handed. He can hold runners.
That changeup wasn't fair. 1-2. Here's Sean Gallagher. And the only left-hander for the Padres. Ramos is up as well. Cesar Ramos. Here's the 1-2. Got him. 3 times. De La Rosa has struck out the one guy who's done damage against him in the Padre lineup, and that's Scott Hairston. Stretch time at Coors Field. And ask about our hometown sports package. By Dex One, marketing solutions, business results. And by Colorado Hyundai. Get more style, more MPG, and more value at your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. 3-0 Colorado. 7 splendid innings for Jorge De La Rosa. 97 pitches. And in early April, his manager says, job well done, but that's enough. And as he is scheduled to lead off, he will give way to a pinch hitter. I'll tell you what, there aren't enough adjectives in the dictionary to describe how good he was today, George.
You're absolutely right. He was one of the best you've seen out in starts. Obviously, the Rockies have had, but just one hit up thrown up on the board on him. That was a weak one. Worked out of jams, worked out of what he needed to do. I thought everything he did today was outstanding. Spielberg's a good shot here against the left-hander Richard. And this was a pitcher's duel at Coors Field. Again, there's only been about 5 or 6 complete game shutouts thrown at Coors Field. The last was by Aaron Cook on July 1st against San Diego. He gave up 5 hits in that 9-inning ball game. Yes, you'd like to see him have that opportunity. Pitch count at 100. Time to say goodbye. Turn it over to your bullpen, Betancourt, and then hand it to Morales in the 9th.
Yeah, and if this is June, he's still out there. And if not for that seeing eye base hit, Jim Tracy would have had a tough decision. He'd have to send him back out there for the 8th. He's got a no-no. The 7th inning is the Burger King Whopper inning. If Colorado hits a home run during the 7th inning, Burger King will offer a free Whopper with the purchase of a large drink the following day between 4 and 6.
Oh, the Whopper.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite. Put a little French fries. Don't be afraid to put like 3 in the sack.
Frazier's going to be there regardless.
Trust me. Yes, it's a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It's a Whopper.
You will be there. 3-0 on Ryan Spielborg's pinch hitting.
You're not going to wear the King's hat.
Rosa.
You wear the King's hat. I've seen you with the Whopper hat and
the
thing.
Yeah. Burger King, you got to put the King hat on. That misses. So 4 pitches by Clayton Richard in the bottom of the 7th inning to Spielborg's, and he trots to first. 3 straight innings. 3 of the last 4 innings. Now the Rockies have had the leadoff man on. Today's E470 Road Ahead brought to you by E470. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. 2 with the Padres. Monday's an off day. Then the Mets come to town for 3, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And then for the Rockies, it's another road trip off to Atlanta and our nation's capital, where the Rockies will take on the Nationals, a 4-game set. Carlos Gonzalez at the plate. Spielborg's goes back to first. Second walk allowed by Richard. Gonzalez hit a drive to the wall in the first inning that Scott Hairston caught. He reached on an error by Everett Cabrera, and then he singled to left center. He's 9 for 18 to begin the season. And this ball's a bullet to deep center. And Hairston is going to make the catch. It's unbelievable. You cannot be more locked in, Jeff, than Carlos Gonzalez.
No, but also to have Hairston back almost to the warning track on a line drive and able to catch it. That just shows you the respect we're having for Carlos right now, because he had to move back about 5 or 6 steps before he even came to the plate, just the way he's been able to drive the ball. 9 times out of 10, you'll see that ball over the center fielder's head. I mean, that ball was right on the line.
I know Jim Edmonds was playing right field the other day for Milwaukee, but we spent some time discussing how shallow he plays. And to your point, Huey, if it's a guy like Edmonds in his traditional spot of center field, that's a double or a triple.
Yeah, he's going back there, picking it up off the base of the wall and tossing it into the infielders.
Here's Dexter. All right, you've been down there for a while, Huey. Have you picked up Richard's move?
He's pretty much classic. If he looks to first, he's going to home. If he looks home, he's coming to first. It's because he brings his leg up the same every single time. It's just straight up on plane, doesn't cross over.
That's a first him off.
Yeah. He changed up, though.
He did. He heard you.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you,
a little softer next time.
He had a little hesitation there, though. He didn't do a direct set. I mean, if you watch what he did that time when the leg came up, he looked home, looked back to first, but he hesitated a little bit in the leg, and then he shot at the first base. He did it so quickly. He just caught Ryan Spielborg's, unfortunately, right here. See his kind of hesitation? He thought he was going to the plate, wasn't even close to it. Great move. I don't know who taught it to him. This ex-quarterback knows what he's doing. Right there it is. See, he's looking at home plate the entire time he threw the baseball to first.
But that shows you why he has such a good move, because I've been sitting here watching this for 7 innings. I study pitchers pretty well on those type of things, and he was doing it, and then he mixed it up. And that's when you get the pick off.
2-0 on Fowler. 1 for 2 and a sacrifice. Dexter last year, first full season in the big leagues, from the right side, his slugging percentage was above 470. From the left side, it was below 370. And of course, the left side is the more developing side. He didn't start hitting from the left side until he was signed out of Alpharetta, Georgia.
Well, don't forget, you got a lot of different ways to get here to Coors Field to watch a baseball game. Check out your mini plans. There's a 15 to 25 game mini plan. All the package, or most of the packages, will include the Red Sox and fireworks games. It also gives you substantial savings and postseason opportunities. So pick up the Rockies phone, call them 303-ROCKIES, or go to ColoradoRockies.com and order your tickets now.
And Fowler walks. Pitch count at 102 for Richard. This is it for him. He's due up third in the 8th inning. This may be his last hitter, Frage. Helton 1 for 3. Tulowitzki on deck. Helton drove in a run. Here's our Quest high-speed pitch. Richards hit 94. And De La Rosa hit 96 and basically sat on 94, 95. That's brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies.
And I think umpires have to become familiar with the type of move that it is, because it is so good, you have a tendency to want to call it a ball.
As long as that foot doesn't cross that imaginary 45-degree line, he's okay.
Eckstein throws out Helton. Rockies up 3-0 as we move to the 8th. This day has moved along rapidly.
Know what I have to do to come here. You don't get too many chances in your life, and to be able to come here, be one of those guys, and work hard every day, and like I say, know what you have to do when you're on the field and when you're off the field.
Rafael Betancourt will take over here in the 8th inning. 3-0 Colorado. The Rockies have out-hit the Padres 7-1. Today's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. The former Cleveland Indian Rafael Betancourt, so good last year for the Rockies after the trade from Cleveland. And he started out this season in fine fashion.
Quick outs doesn't allow the offense to get going. 90 to 94 mile an hour fastball. It has some cut and sink to it, depending upon the grip. He throws a hard, tight slider. Repeats his delivery every single time within that strike zone. 49,509 paid here today at Coors Field on the regular season open.
Nick Hundley, and here's the 0-1. That's 0-2. 93 miles an hour on the outside corner.
What you're starting to get now, too, guys, is the shadow from the light standards up on top of the stadium, right where the hitters are standing now.
Hey, Jeff, did you ever cheat on the catcher's helmet?
I cheated sometimes with if the sun was behind, you could see movement back there. Look at the shadow.
A lot of times you can see the guy moving in and out, even with the shadow the way it is here at Coors Field. You can catch a catcher going outside, inside by the helmet. It's kind of right on your back foot as a left-handed hitter right now.
You know, he went 92, 93, 94 with 3 well-placed fastballs, and Hundley has joined Scott Hairston. Both have been to the plate 3 times today, and both have struck out 3 times. Everett Cabrera, a strikeout, and he tried to bunt his way on, and De La Rosa made a nice play on him. Jorge De La Rosa was magnificent today. He allowed 1 hit. He struck out in opening day Rockies record 9. He walked just 1. He did hit a batter. 3 base runners. 1 ball, folks, out of the infield. A fly ball in the 7th inning by Chase Headley to center. And that's a broken bat base hit for Cabrera. Just the 2nd knock for San Diego. Here's the official line on De La Rosa.
Good job by him, obviously. 1 hit, the 9 strikeouts Drew talked about. He did all that with 97 pitches over that 7-inning stretch. Just looking at the bottom of their lineup, the way De La Rosa handled them, and of course now Betancourt. They're 1 for 9 with 7 punch-outs.
Hey, we were talking about weight loss earlier in the ball game, right? Folks, for those of you that watch baseball quite a bit, this is a really trimmed down Matt Stairs in his 18th big league season. Stairs, who's 42, has lost 37 pounds. I was talking to him about it before the ball game. He said he did it on a hardcore diet and playing a lot of hockey because he lives in Bangor, Maine, and he coaches his kids in hockey, so he's on the ice all the time. And he was very disciplined, and he didn't know he was just doing it for health reasons to get in better shape. He wasn't sure if he was going to get a call this offseason, but you know, he's a left-handed bat off the bench who can hit it a mile.
Well, it's understandable about the call in the offseason. He played a number of years, and again, it was one of those situations that what team will give me an opportunity. And the Padres did that, and the price was right. And again, this sets it up for Jed Hoyer, the new general manager of the Padres. You get around the July trading deadline and somebody needs that left-handed veteran bat off of the bench, this is where you trade a Stairs and maybe pick up a Double-A pitcher for him, a player. 36 games last year, 391, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs.
It's part of the Philadelphia Phillies last year. This is his 12th team, which ties a major league record.
Now those numbers against the Rockies in his career. He's put up some big numbers against this ball club.
DJ Rayburn indicates it was a swing. It's 0-2.
Give it a chance, George, to see what you were talking about a moment ago, where that barrel goes past that line at third base, and we'll get a good look from the Southwest Sky Cam to see how far in front of home plate where that barrel went. Nice drawing there, George, and it's exactly what DJ was looking at down the third base line.
Slider missed, 1-2.
Yeah, I had to do a double take when I saw Matt walk out today, Drew, because I was the same way. I was like, this is not the same Matt Stairs that I've been used to seeing.
Thought they'd sign somebody out of the independent league?
I thought it was his brother.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it was like this isn't the same Matt.
He lost a 7th grader. I'll tell you what. I He looks great. I said, you haven't lost any power. He said, no, I can still hit it pretty far. Cabrera takes off 1-2, and the throw to second is not in time.
Out, he's out.
Oh, he is out. He overslid the bag. He was safe initially, and give Tim Timmons, the second base umpire, credit. He hung with the call.
Well, not only that, give Tulowitzki credit for keeping the tag on him, because the hands come, the body comes, and a lot of times guys will reach down and do a slap tag, a quick tag, trying to get it on him. Well, watch Tulowitzki when he puts this tag on. He just stays with it and keeps it right on his hand, and as he went off, let's give you a great look at it right here. Watch as the tag comes. He stays with him the whole time. He's off 3 or 4 inches.
And Troy's giving him a little help here. He's pointing to him. He's off the bag. Nice job all the way around.
Huey, that's another reason, and you were a base stealer, that I don't know about the head first slide.
Yeah, feet first is much easier to stay on the bag, because you can hit the bag, it'll slow you down. Even if you pop up a little bit, your foot still stays on the bag. The one thing the head first slide does allow you to do is slide out and around from a tag, but that is the danger, is falling off the bag, because all your momentum's still going. It's tough to just grab it and hold on.
Well, more middle infielders who are receiving the throw now are trying to get their feet out into that baseline. So when you reach out to grab it on a head first slide, you're trying to hold on and kind of swing yourself around. They're not allowing you to get there.
Swung on and missed. Stairs goes down swinging against Betancourt. Middle of inning number 8, 3-0 Colorado. Chase, introducing the 1% mortgage cash back. Chase, what matters. And by Big Brothers Big Sisters, be big and donate your car. You get a free tow, a tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. Temperature in the mid-60s for the home opener 2010. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Jeff Houston, Alana Rizzo. Rockies up 3-0. It's the bottom of the 8th inning. Let's look at the Hyundai cam and that strikeout of Matt Stairs. Rafael Betancourt throws the heater, and he just beat him with it down low. Good location on the Hyundai cam. Matt Stairs, the 11th strikeout of the ball game for the Rockies pitching staff.
Well, Gallagher comes on now to pitch for the San Diego Padres. This is a young man that's 88-91. See some late tail on the fastball. His curveball will run 71 to 74, but it can really buckle your knees on a 12-6 type break an awful lot. There it is. See Tulowitzki jump back off of that. It's very difficult to read it. Slider 83-85, so let's see how he does it. Typically works very well against right-handers. He has struggled at times with the lefties.
He throws it there. It's 1-2.
All breaking balls so far. That one at 74. In the fourth strike zone, you get a good shot of this 12-6 hook. See the knees of Tulowitzki in his chest. I mean, it's almost as if he didn't catch the ball coming out of those shadows at all.
Pretty quick there, George, at 94.
Outside corner with some right tail and cut to it. Just try to set it up after you've got a hitter that, for me, when I pitched, saw a hitter with a little buckle of the knees. You could go away with the fastball because if he's bailing off the breaking ball, thinking it's what it is, and he adjusts, and you've got that full happy swing working, you can hit it a mile.
First Tulo chant of the year.
Won't be the last.
Nope.
And Tulo drives one left center field. This one's tagged, and it is off the top of the wall. Tulowitzki to second with a double.
Second hit of the ball game for Tulo. He's led off the fourth with a base hit. Came on to score after the double by Ian Stewart, or the single, I should say. Got a fastball, just what I was talking about. This ball, all those curveballs were in, buckled him up a little bit. This fastball was in, and it was up. And on the Hyundai cam, you can see Leadege's hands inside that to get that barrel of the head through it and drive the ball out into left center field, one of the deeper parts of Coors Field, and advantage Rockies. Runner on second and nobody out.
That was a great shot from the Hyundai cam. The way he, as you mentioned, George, got his hands inside, but also got on top of the baseball, create that backspin.
Brad Hopp takes strike one. Let's take a look at the Amica hot zone for Brad Hopp. Throw it in the middle of the plate, you get hurt. He's pretty good away. He did a much better job last year, Frage, of driving the ball the other way.
Well, a lot of guys tried to pound him in above his hands, and he swung through it an awful lot.
Be interesting to see how that Amica hit zone changes this year with the lower leg kick.
Now, this is the area they would try to run into, is right on that inner half of the plate.
And a line drive, base hit. Tulowitzki to third. Richie Dower will stop him there. Brad Hopp with his second hit. He's been aboard 3 times. By the way, the Amica hit zone for each Colorado hit from now through the end of the season. Amica Insurance will donate $10 to the Boys and Girls Club of Denver. We thank you very much, Amica.
By the way, the San Diego Padres with just one left-hander down in their bullpen. Cesar Ramos is the left-hander that's down there. Thatcher was hurt late in spring training. Ramos was going to be a starter in AAA. Bud Black brought him back, had him make a couple appearances, liked what he saw. But typically for the Padres, they've never had a lot of left-handers in their bullpen.
George, I was just going to say that. It reminds me of the years when they didn't have anybody down there who threw from the left side, but they were really good if they had a lead when you got to the 7th inning. And this ball toward the hole, on through, base hit, Miguel Olivo. Run number 4 trots home. Tulowitzki will get fist bumps and high fives. Miguel Olivo with his second RBI in a Rockies uniform.
This ball club excited to be home, excited to score runs, and to get the type of pitching performance they have with De La Rosa and Betancourt. And with that young man Oliva behind the plate making those calls. Brad Hopp with a base hit earlier. Tulowitzki, you look at it on the forward strike zone, appeared to be a hanging breaking ball with the infield 3/4 the way, not all the way back. It allowed that ball to sneak by the shortstop Cabrera and out into the outfield and get the run home.
Still nobody out. Ian Stewart with 2 on. And he pops one up. He got a pitch to hit.
Oh my, Huey, this is one of those, I got it, somebody else please take it. I think it was hit a mile into the air.
Those are the ones that Ryan Sandberg used to tell Gracie to get. He didn't want those because they were hit so high.
And those are the ones that help tells Barnes to get.
Yeah.
Let's check in quickly with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. I noticed in Milwaukee that Jason Giambi was helping Clint Barmes with some tee work in the Rockies clubhouse. I talked to Barmy about it today. He said basically we were putting a softball on a tee, and I was using a much heavier bat, about 60 ounces on the bat. He said it's much more in the head instead of at the handle of the bat. He said you can really feel if you're hitting all the way through the ball or if you're pushing or hooking your swing. He said you can really feel what you're doing. He said it got him a lot looser, much more quickly than just using his everyday bat. It felt like he was, swinging a wiffle bat out there when he was doing this exercise. He said it's worked for him. He plans to continue it. He just stays behind the ball and drives through it. And I guess with this exercise, you can really feel it, guys.
All right, Alana. Guys always Try to swing a heavier bat. A lot of guys will do that in batting practice. For the gamer, Huey feels a little bit lighter. This ball turned on deep left field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. 3-run jack. The bat felt pretty light there.
As if almost on cue.
Rockies have broken it wide open. Mr. Opening Day at home. Clint Barmes with his first of the year. He's done that before.
This was just a nice swing from Clint because he's been working so much the other way. And now he gets a pitch on the inside part, as we see from the Hyundai cam, where he's just able to clear just enough, get squared back up to the pitcher and drive it all the way out to left center field. I mean, this ball was driven.
Well, I tell you, 2 mistakes that Gallagher has made. One against Tulowitzki was a location they wanted the ball away from him. He went in, he drove it into left center. On Barmes, they wanted that ball down and away after the heavy dose of breaking balls. It makes a mistake inside. It's nice to see Rockies hitters make pitchers pay for those mistakes. Giambi was in the on-deck circle with the Rockies scoring the 4 spot here in the 8th inning. He set Seth Smith up to get an at-bat against Mr. Gallagher.
And this could be a little an early season get healthy, AB, Huey, for Seth Smith.
Sure, after the struggles on opening day, and there you go.
That's a fair ball down the right field line. And Smith is going to stop at second with a double. And Sean Gallagher wants to find a hole to climb into right about now.
Surprisingly, nobody's throwing. In the bullpen of the Padres, a couple of guys starting to get things off. Here's the replay of that space hit right down the first base line, out of the reach of everybody, and it's off to the races for Smith.
Well, I think for Seth, too, is he didn't have much time to think about it because he thought Jason was going to go up there and hit, and all of a sudden, oh, you're up there. Go get him.
Well, fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. Tomorrow, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locales between 4 and 6. You know the drill. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1. With the purchase of a medium drink, it's a steal. 1 order per customer. Our friends at Taco Bell, first time they've been able to hand out tacos this year. It will not be the last. And Edward Mujica in the San Diego bullpen.
Well, a lot of times you don't try to get a matchup at this point. It's who can get loose very quickly. That's the thing. And again, if Mujica can get loose quickly, you're just trying to stop the bleeding on the guy that's out there right now, Gallagher.
Carlos Gonzalez takes a strike. He had a fly ball to the wall. Now, Morales was up, but it looks like the Rockies are going to turn to Smil Rogers with a 7-0 lead here in the bottom of the 8th.
Save the bullets. No reason. How many times have you seen a closer come out in a non-save situation, all of a sudden get blown up for 2 or 3 runs? It's the mentality of a closer, to be in tight ball games, to be with men on base, to have a 2-1, 3-1 lead to go out and protect the intensity level. Don't try to get me to explain it, folks. It's just more not times than not. Send a closer out to get a little bit of work, they get beat up. The Rockies 83-1 after leading after 8 innings. How about that? 45-0 at Coors. This was all last year.
You know, I think the threshold here is a little different, George. I think it's 4 or 5 runs, and you're still going to have your closer out there. But with the 7-run lead, Jim Tracy has made the change. This is popped up left side. And Cabrera makes the catch. 2 outs. That'll bring up Dexter Fowler. It'll also take us to the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. How about a moment ago? Clint Barmes, 23 home runs a year ago. There's number 1 in 2010. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast, a 3-run jack for Barmes.
Not a big difference for the Rockies, too, after going 4 and 30 in those first 3 ball games with runners in scoring position. 4 for 30. They're 5 for 10 today.
Come back to your comfort zone. As you're used to hitting, you see the ball well, and you stay within. And I also think you stay within yourself just a little bit more.
You know what, Jeff? I just noticed something, and as a hitter, maybe you would notice it more than I would. But you know, the hitter's eye here at Coors Field is one of the best in all of baseball. And right now, the vines are still brown. I mean, it hadn't greened up out there in center field yet. I wonder if that obviously it didn't affect the Rockies at all. But here, of course, the vines have not turned green.
1-2. That's kind of like Wrigley phrase, right? Early in the year.
Well, but this is your hitter's eye. Wrigley's down along the bottom. You know, in Wrigley Field, they have all those bushes up in center field that they have planted now. This is more up in your hitter's eye, but Wrigley, yeah. I mean, the vines are brown and a little rough to hit early in the season.
Off-speed pitch misses. Rockies have 12 hits to the Padres 2. I don't care how many runs the Rockies end up with. This day will be about the performance of Jorge De La Rosa. Emergency hack.
Well, I would agree with you. You know, you just mentioned the fact about De La Rosa and what he did. And, you know, I think there was some things thinking of what he accomplished last year at Coors Field. He was 10-6 at Coors. He pitched very well here, 16-8, 8 games over 500 to come in. That was the guy. That's who you wanted on the mound today.
You know, it was written, and we have talked about it late last year, guys, that De La Rosa, stuff-wise, well documented that he could be his own worst enemy, but stuff-wise, has #1 rotation stuff.
Well, he always has. Just now he's throwing everything over the plate.
Gallagher strikes out Fowler. In the inning, the Rockies score 4 times, highlighted by the 3-run home run by Clint Barmas. 7-0 as we go to the 9th.
Right, we'll talk about Ian Stewart and his improved hitting against left-handed pitching. That's all coming up right after the ball game. Drew?
All right, Tom, thanks very much. Nice tie, by the way, my friend.
Trying to jazz it up a little.
I like it. Yes, Emil Rogers, who got 1 start for age last year for the Rockies late in the season. And he's the long haul man, at least initially, out of the bullpen. That came after the injury to Jeff Francis and Greg Smith was inserted into the rotation spot that opened it up for Rogers.
The 1 start that he did have was against the San Diego Padres in San Diego, where he had 5 innings, pitched pretty good. He has the hardest job on the team, folks, because there's going to be days he doesn't pitch. It's been a while. It's been 7 days since he pitched. And that can be difficult to work through as a young pitcher. So this is where you really have to rely on Jimmy right down into the bullpen as you're warming up, Bob Apodaca while he watches you warm up, to stay within yourself. Repeat the delivery. Don't get antsy. Just try to stay relaxed. Let the arm do the work. Personally, for me, I think, too, that this is a good spot for him down in the bullpen because he has a 2-pitch mix that's very, very good. Fastball that he can run into the mid-90s, the last at 96, and a hard slider to go along with it.
He's taking the rollover of Josh Fogg. Think about Fogger, what all he had to do for those 2 or 3 years with the Rockies. He was this guy.
That's a hard slider at 87, 1-2. Hey, repair that chip in your windshield now. Do it by calling Safe Light Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000, or you can Catch them online at safelight.com. 1-2 on Hairston. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. Another slider. Took more off that, George.
Turned it into more of a curveball. He got on top of it. It was 82 miles an hour, and it had a 12-6 type break to it. Which basically with the slider sometimes you'll let your hand get a little farther outside. You could throw it harder. Fastball at 96 again, down on the outer half of the plate. When you have a 7-0 lead, a couple of things you look at. Pound the strike zone coming out of the bullpen. Yet think of it as a 1 or 2 run lead. Because what happens if you sit there, and I know Jeff is a former hitter, you don't like this, but you know, they're all screaming, throw fastballs. You got a 7-run lead. You need to pitch as if it's a 1-run lead to stay as sharp as you can stay, because if you all of a sudden start throwing a bunch of heaters and you have what happened to Gallagher, all of a sudden you're giving up 5 hits, 4 runs, and you're calling timeout.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, the guys are going to go up there licking their chops, racing to the bat rack.
One out, and David Eckstein will step in. 0 for 3. This is a kid who was converted from shortstop. It's not unusual, folks, especially a lot of times with kids signed out of Latin America. Rafael Betancourt, a lot of people don't realize that. He was originally a position player, was a shortstop. Great arm, didn't hit much. In fact, when you asked Rafael, he said, you know, so you were, good field, light hit. He goes, I was good field, no hit. And they converted him, and obviously he's had a tremendous career as a setup man. And Rogers hopes to be the same kind of story one day.
A lot of times when you look at a guy's arm like Rogers had at shortstop, and he ran pretty well for a young man. Wasn't a very big kid when he signed, but he ran well. So now in his mind, he's saying to him, they say a scout looks at him and says, you know what, he runs well. And Tom Greenaway, who signed a number of guys, you've heard me talk about him, Mickey Mantle, said, you know what, if he runs good, I'll teach him to hit 250. Well, if they field the ball well and they have a great arm and good range, I'll teach you to hit 250. If it doesn't work out, there's a little hill out there. We're going to find out in 3 years as a minor league player in the DSL down in the Dominican whether you can play that position, whether you can handle it.
Well, if you go through the rosters of almost every single team, there's pitchers that have been converted from a shortstop or maybe an outfielder in the minor leagues just for that reason.
I tell you,
can't hit.
I'll tell you another, go the other way with that, Jeff. There's a guy, Scott Beer, in the Rockies organization, 2nd-round pick out of Texas A&M as a closer from 90. 97, 98, blew out his arm, sat out 2 years, came back and hit over 500. And think about it, 500 in Tri-Cities, 350 in Modesto, is now in AAA with the Rockies and was 2 for 4 last night.
Yeah, he started out well last night. Most famous guy in the big leagues right now is Rick Ankiel.
Sure. Yep.
Now with Kansas City. Here's another 3-2 and a line drive to right. Brad Hopp's playing pretty shallow with Eckstein. 2 outs in the 9th inning. Today's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's. Delivery of the game. It was scoreless in the 4th, 2 in scoring position, and Ian Stewart served it to center field to drive in a couple, and the Rockies were off and running. And Tulowitzki and Hop scored. That's our Jimmy John's delivery of the ball game, courtesy of Ian Stewart, who leads the Rockies with 5 RBIs in the early going. Adrian Gonzalez takes strike 1. Adrian a couple of strikeouts and a ground ball to short. Here's the Amica hit zone on the All-Star, the 2-time All-Star, Adrian Gonzalez. I love this guy. You know, one of my favorite things about Adrian Gonzalez, fellas, is not only that he's a great player, great defender, he plays every day. Last 3 years, he's missed 3 games.
This shows you what kind of leader he is for the Padres.
0-2 in the 9th, and he got him. Fitting way to end it on a day of punch-outs and wonderful pitching. The Rockies come home, and they win in convincing fashion to begin the home slate 2010, 7-0 over the Padres. A perfect afternoon for the Colorado Rockies and more than 50,000 in attendance. Jorge De La Rosa goes to 1-0. Clayton Richard takes the loss. The Rockies out-hit the Padres 12-2. our Granger player of the game. It can be nobody else. Jorge De La Rosa gave up one measly hit, 7 spotless innings. He had a franchise best 9 strikeouts on opening day. Jorge De La Rosa, our Granger player of the game.
Great way to end the ball game. A punch out by Rogers. 12 on the night, on the day, I should say, for Rogers' pitching staff. They're pretty special, and the offense came through in a big way.
And the Rockies leveled their early season record at 2-2. The Padres fall to 1-3. All is right in the Mile High City. Rockies in front of a sellout of faithful fans win it 7-0. The post-game report is up next. Plenty still to do. Stay with us right here on FSN Rocky Mountain.